From his first appearance as Sharon in the action thriller film John Wick, to his posthumous appearance in the upcoming film John Wick Chapter 4. To say that the cast and crew of the John Wick franchise are devastated over Lance Reddick's death would be an understatement. The franchise won't be the same now with Reddick's untimely passing, and that's something Lionsgate acknowledged in their tribute to the late actor. Reddick first appeared in the critically acclaimed franchise in its first release in 2014. The actor would later on reprise his role as Sharon for the film's 2 sequels.
Be willing to accept the responsibility, should you wish.
Appreciate that.
Does he have a name?
In 2021, it was announced that Lionsgate had just signed Reddick for the franchise's 4th installment. Sharon, a multi-talented hotel concierge, was one of the most popular characters in the entire John Wick franchise.
Have you for 2 nights?
Depending on business, it may be more.
Of course, sir.
So when the old place get a facelift?
And for a good reason, too. Sharon was more than just Winston's right-hand man. He was someone Wick trusted. He was also someone who was willing to do whatever it took to help the former hitman. This included keeping his dog with him, though that exceeded his duties as a hotel concierge. The fact that he risked his own life trying to help Wick fight Zero.
Gato.
Unless you wish to become the same, I suggest you lower your gun.
Is the only reason we're getting a 4th installment in the series on March 24th of this year. However, it is also because Sharon stepped in to remind Zero that even while Wick was excommunicated, Zero couldn't kill him without being excommunicated himself. He saved his life, and that's probably the only reason Wick made it through a 4th film. Sharon was more than just an ominous character with a finely ironed suit.
125 grain, 1425 feet per second. Serious business.
He, in no uncertain terms, made the franchise as popular as it is today. That's something Lionsgate, Keanu Reeves, and Chad Stahelski all acknowledged. They said the franchise wouldn't be the same without him. Reddick's passing was confirmed by his publicist, Mia Hansen, on March 17th. She said that the actor passed away suddenly, owing to natural causes at the age of 60. No one saw it coming, and the world has been reeling from the shock of losing one of the best character actors there has ever been. I'm not just talking about his role as Sharon here. I'm talking about the guy who played Cedric Daniels on The Wire.
If The Wire doesn't give us a case, he can charge all the murders he has.
Philip Broyles on The Fringe.
No, that plane might be part of something more dangerous than just simple terrorism.
And Chief Irvin on Bosch. And that's just to name a few. Reddick leaves behind him a legacy of some of the best portrayals of stern, authoritative, and well-thought characters. This includes Sharon. The star of the John Wick franchise, Keanu Reeves, said he was deeply saddened and heartbroken at the loss. The director, Chad Stahelski, also said that the Wick franchise would be nothing without him. In their official press release, Lionsgate paid tribute to the late actor's untimely passing. The statement read, "The world of Wick wouldn't be what it is without Lance Reddick and the unparalleled depth he brought to Sharon's humanity and unflappable charisma." While everyone in the John Wick family would be mourning the loss of Sharon from the franchise, they'd be mourning the loss of their close, joyful friend and concierge, Lance. A whole lot more. It feels like yesterday when Reddick was signed on to reprise his role in Chapter 4. Reddick's return to the franchise was something we'd all been waiting for. Granted, everyone saw the news coming. I mean, could there really be a 4th installment in the John Wick franchise without Sharon? Thankfully, in July 2021, just a few months after Stahelski teased the release of a 4th film, Lance was confirmed to be reprising his role in Chapter 4. The news was followed by a statement by the director in which he said that Reddick had been an integral part of the film since day one, and it made sense to have him back again for another film. The news was met with an overwhelmingly positive reception. I mean, it's Sharon we're talking about, the guy who helped Wick fend off the High Table in the 3rd film. Now, with Reddick's passing, there's a Sharon-shaped hole in everyone's heart. I know what you're thinking. Reddick would appear posthumously in Chapter 4, but what about Chapters 5, 6, and onwards? Well, Stahelski says everyone's taking a break after Chapter 4. Without giving away too many spoilers about the 4th installment, all I can tell you is that the John Wick franchise might just find a way to keep going even without Reddick. Sure, it won't be the most ideal of things. I mean, Sharon is almost as integral to the entire series as well, Wick himself. But Stahelski isn't really concerned with what to do with Reddick's character for now. First, because he's still mourning the loss of his friend, and second, because the acclaimed director had announced long before the film wrapped up that Chapter 4 would be the last installment in the series for a while. Stahelski claimed that both he and Reeves had agreed to give John Wick a quiet minute. The issue of whether there would be a fifth installment is, for now, speculative. The director said that it all depended on how the fans reacted to the fourth installment.
Into single combat.
If you win,
you'll have your freedom.
And when I see you, I'ma take what I want.
If they loved it or went kooky, as Stahelski put it, then yes, the production company and the team might look into creating another installment in the John Wick franchise. It'll be a while, though. Long enough for the director to incorporate Reddick's passing into the script for the next film, if there even is one, and if he's even in it. Again, it's all speculative, and you'll just have to wait until March 24th to come up with a theory of your own. In the meantime, let's talk more about the legacy that Lance Reddick left behind. So far, I've talked about the late actor and musician's legacy as Sharon, arguably one of his most noteworthy characters.
However, would be willing to accept the responsibility.
And sure, he's had many other roles over his decades-long career, but Lance was very vocal about the plight of actors of color in the industry. In one of his more famous interviews from 2009, Lance claimed that when he started working in the industry back in 1998, he knew that even though he was just as good as everyone else, he had to work twice as hard because he was a person of color. And he did. Reddick would go on to take just about any role he could. That might not have been what he had envisioned for himself initially, though. In another interview, Reddick claimed that he had always seen television as a way to make ends meet, but he never really thought of it as a definite career path. Maybe because he just always assumed he'd be working in plays. But then Oz happened, and The Wire followed shortly afterward. These were career-defining roles for Reddick, and he jumped at the opportunity to play characters who were more than just token actors of color on television. Reddick created a legacy for himself by giving more depth to his characters than I'm sure the scriptwriters thought possible. You could give the guy just about any role, and he'd make sure it became a fan favorite. Fortunately, Reddick's legacy won't be forgotten. His many co-stars and cast members have made sure of it. You could say that all of Hollywood has been putting out heartwarming tributes for the late actor. Keanu called Reddick a consummate professional and a joy to work with before announcing that Chapter 4 would be dedicated to the late actor. David Simon, co-creator of The Wire, said that everyone would miss Lance as the beloved collaborator that he'd been known as. Ian Shane, his co-star in the John Wick series, said that he was in total shock and disbelief over the actor's passing. Likewise, his co-star from The Wire, Wendell Pierce, shared probably one of the most heartwarming and equally heartbreaking tributes to Lance. Pierce said that Lance's death left a hole in their artistic family and that he would be missed dearly, but never forgotten. That's true. You can never forget the legacy that Lance Reddick left behind, and that's all on how the John Wick franchise has been changed forever after the actor's death.